3. Aurora, what do my readers need to hear right now? I tap my pen against my notebook, leaving little marks of ink across the blank page I've been staring at for ages. I knew that forcing myself to write as soon as one got here was never going to work. After my morning yoga yesterday, I spent a good couple of hours going through Auntie Grace's stuff, putting together bags of old clothes that I could donate. As hard as it was to do so, with all the memories playing through my head, I had to start the ball rolling somehow with sorting Sunset Ranch out. Otherwise, I'll end up staying in Willow Ridge for far longer than necessary, when I really need everything to just go back to normal as soon as possible. Luckily, it took my mind off the unopened email from my agent, asking after the outline for my next self-help book. It also helped me calm down after how snarky Wyatt was with me, which was totally uncalled for. He is not helping. I even found some awesome red cowboy boots I never knew Auntie Grace owned, which I'm not ashamed to say I tried on. I can just imagine her wearing them, probably dancing around the house to an Emmylou Harris song with her long white hair swishing behind her. She'd definitely have paired them with some bright red lipstick, that's for sure. Then in the evening, I finally plucked up the courage to dive into the folder Wyatt made me, to figure out where everything had been left off. Auntie Grace had already kick-started converting some of the old buildings into guest houses, so decorating is underway in most of them. I thought maybe giving my brain something completely new to focus on would be a good refresh, readying me to start writing today. But I think there was just so much to comprehend regarding the ranch, whether it was the rancher's work, the different contractors doing up the guest houses and any other conversions, or all my great-aunt's finances, that my mind feels lazy now. The cogs have been overworked and don't want to churn anymore. That's what happens when you fall asleep with your face in a folder, I guess. Still, I do feel a little more confident about managing Sunset Ranch and getting it sold, which I'll take as a win. Staring out at the lake ahead, I watched the late morning sun's reflections sparkle along the ripples and light up the ground beneath the surface, emphasizing the clearness of the water. It's a short walk west from the main house and splits Sunset Ranch up from its surrounding land. Proud emerald trees line the majority of its edge, save for a small stretch of shore where Auntie Grace always said she'd build a deck but never got round to it. I can almost hear her warm laugh beside me from where she would sit with a book, watching as I splashed about. Her smile would always light up her surroundings brighter than the sun. Goosebumps cover my skin. I'm too aware that Plea never feel her warmth again. I hate that the more time goes on, the more I forget how it felt, because I always thought I was too busy to make time to come out to Sunset Ranch. But now I'm here, blessed by the unadulterated sense of freedom and peace radiating off the leafy trees and expansive mountains. I can't think of a single reason I wouldn't have visited. Adulthood really does have a way of blinkering you. Maybe I could write something about making the most of the time you have with the people you love. But considering that feels a little too sore still, and my readers are so used to the positive, upbeat articles and posts I write, I'm worried it might be too depressing. Fortunately, I get a needed shot of joy when my phone starts buzzing, and my best friend Sophia's beautiful face graces my screen when I answer. She's clearly at work late tonight because I can see the whiteboard of her classroom behind her. "Hey, Sophia." Curls bounce as she angles her head. "Hey, bestie, wait. Are you naked?" Sophia's type black. "You wish." "No, I'm in a bikini." I tilt the phone down to show off my white strapless bikini, then flip the camera to pan across the charming lake ahead. Was going to reward myself with a swim once I got something written. "Ooh, you look so fit." Still struggling to find inspiration? I just make a long whiny moan in response and rest my head against my knees. The problem is, I can write. I can write tons about what I'm feeling right now. I've done that every morning and night in my journal since I popped by Jake's after the funeral. I can write for hours about how the leggy blonde he'd been kissing left in tears, hurt that she'd been tricked into thinking he was single. How he'd gone after her first, telling me to stay and he'd come back to explain. I can write for hours about how even though I know I'm a great person, I still wonder what I did wrong, or where I didn't live up to the other girl. How could I have changed to fit what Jake wanted? Should I have toned parts of me down, been more of something else? All the questions and second guessing of myself I'd worked so hard to stop doing, since I was a shy teenager wondering why the boys at school talked to all the other girls instead of me. I guess no matter how hard you try, there's always a part of your younger self that will stay with you. But none of that is on brand. Grieving and jilted aren't exactly synonymous with successful positivity and wellness influencer. It feels so silly to be ruled by that, but it's my job. That's the career I've dedicated so much to and made into a beautiful business. One that made me feel excited to wake up every day for. And that's the dream, right? When I used to write letters to myself as if they were from my future self, a manifestation technique Auntie Grace taught me, I'd always start by saying how amazing it was to spend each day writing about what I was passionate for. But the only things I can write about right now are the things that make me sad. The people I miss. The heavy loneliness aching in my chest every day. That my favorite things to do right now are sit on the back deck and watch the sunset, or listen to the nature chirping and whistling away around us, as opposed to doing an intense manifestation session. And none of that will get me paid by the magazine or brands or publishers. I guess I need to find something that's going to spark that passion again, and just hope it will keep the fire burning. Oh, Rory, Sophia laments. Well, if it's any consolation, Eve been sat here for an hour trying to figure out how to make the Public Health Act of 1848 interesting to a bunch of 14-year-olds, half of whom will probably laugh at the word public because it looks like pubic. That makes me snort. I think if anyone met Sophia and me separately, they'd have no idea how we're friends when our lives are so different. Here I am, an influencer whose life revolves around social media, whereas she doesn't have any socials anymore because of her job. One of her students finding her Instagram and sending her fire emojis in her DMs after a few weeks of teaching was enough to make her delete everything, halls at Exeter, and the rest was history. But 7 years ago, we ended up in the same university. Wanna swap? I ask. Sophia closes her eyes, a dreamy smile appearing. I wish, but I have to teach this tomorrow, and I'm not sure you even know what the Public Health Act of 1848 is. A very valid point. However, maybe I can help you out and be your inspiration. Sophia's voice becomes hushed. What would you say to someone who wants to quit their job but has no idea what else they want to do? My heart aches for her. She was so excited to become a teacher, but turns out not all teenagers love learning like she did. Or, Sophia, it's still shit then. The worst. I had to send a kid out today for making sex noises every time I wrote on the board. He's 11. What is wrong with kids these days? If I'm ever feeling down about life, I can always count on Sophia to make me realize it's not so awful, because I don't have to teach adolescents all day. Next article idea. Hey, life isn't so bad. At least you're not a teacher. Honestly, Sophia, you know that you can always move in with me if you quit until you find a job, right? I know. You're the best. Maybe you should just not sell the ranch and I'll come live out there instead. I'll find myself a pretty American girl to fall hopelessly in love with. She bats her lashes, making me chuckle. And I go to the gym. I'm sure I can throw some hay about. Believe me, there's a lot more to running this place than just throwing hay. I had no idea. Plus, the head rancher is actually Mr. Hensley's grandson and is super grumpy, so I don't think you'd want to deal with him. I can't stop my eyes from rolling just thinking about Wyatt and the cheek he spoke to me with. Sophia's face lights up. Wait, the head rancher is like our age. Oh my God, is he hot, Sophia? I groan. That's a yes. She lets out a cackle, tipping her head back and spinning in her chair. So, you're telling me that you've moved to a foreign country for a few weeks, newly single, and there's a mysterious hot cowboy down the road. I actually hate you. You're living a movie. I'm really not. Besides, I'm certain he hates me. Whatever, Sophia winks with a grin. Anyway, I think I'm going to try to finish this off at home. Just wanted to check in and see how things were going. Hope you find some inspiration to write and maybe a cowboy to ride. Miss you, love you. I shake my head, unable to conceal my chuckle. Miss you and love you too so much. Sophia blows me a kiss through the screen before hanging up. I write her question into my notebook and dot a few bullet points beneath, ready for any ideas that might come. The cool breeze coasts along the lake and whispers through my hair, coaxing me towards the water. Perhaps a dip will clear my head, and then the ideas will come flowing. I tiptoe along the rocks to the water's edge. Sophia was right, really. I'm so lucky to be here. Sunset Ranch feels like a movie, just like it always did, and maybe this is my opportunity to have my main character moment. I'd thought I was already having it. My career was advancing every day, the money in my bank account growing, my health and fitness at their peaks, and I was in what I thought was a loving relationship. It felt like the happy ending of the film. In the beginning, Eld started as a shy, insecure girl, and now I'd blossomed into a successful, confident woman. But maybe that was the prequel. Maybe this is the start of my movie, and I'm being given the chance to be reborn. I just don't know how the movie is going to pan out, and that scares me. Either way, I'm going to make the most of being here at Sunset Ranch. If it's my last chance to enjoy this place, what's left of Auntie Grace, then I'm going to run and dive into the water, not timidly wade in. And when a butterfly crosses my path, that's exactly what I do. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. I floated in the water for longer than planned, but I couldn't remember the last time my body had felt so light in the past month. Once I convinced myself out of the lake and wrapped myself up in my towel, I managed to get some ideas down in response to Sophia's dilemma. I remember feeling that panic when everyone else around you seems to have their future sorted, while all you can see is hundreds of paths ahead, unsure which one to take. It took time to build the success I have now, and my parents required a lot of convincing when all my friends were getting jobs lined up for graduation, yet was snapping selfies and writing blogs about my favorite manifestation techniques. But I kept running Auntie Grace's reminder through my head, do it for you, not them. Just like she did when she moved out to Colorado. That kept me going because your life isn't your own if you always care what others think. Damn, there's the Rory Jones I know. Maybe that lake has special healing properties because as I finish sunbathing and slip my sundress over my head, I feel revitalized. I'm ready to sort out this ranch, reset, and get back to reality. On the way back to the main house, I decide to stop by the guest houses where the decorators and plumbers are working today to check in on progress. When one walked up to the lake this morning, all their trucks and equipment were outside, yet now they're all gone. There's no way they could be finished already. I know I took the scenic longer route back, but when I check my watch, it's still early afternoon. Confused, I mosey inside, noticing that hardly anything has been done. Wooden panels are scattered about, and some of the sinks still don't have taps, which I specifically remember one of the plumbers saying he was going to fix today. When I check, my phone is still on, so it's not like there was a problem and anyone called, which they should have done, as I made sure to give my number to all the contractors yesterday. I march back out, phone still in hand as I scroll through my contacts to find the number for the decorators. I hear shouting in the distance and whip my head up to see 3 people on horses, one of them now galloping down towards me. As he comes into view, I realize it's Wyatt. Thick, corded muscles tense as he rides, his light brown skin slick and glistening in the sun. My pulse quickens, and when he slows his horse down as he gets closer, Wyatt knocks the brim of his hat up, bringing his chiseled face into view. There's something so annoyingly sexy about the way he looks, high up on his horse, shoulders relaxed and confident as he saunters along. Just like when he leaned against the fence yesterday, goading me. God, Sophia would have a field day if she saw him right now. Masculinity literally pours off him and my mouth is so dry, I wonder if he's what I need to quench my thirst. Jesus, Rory. It hasn't even been that long since you last had sex. Why are you thinking these things? Hey, I squeak out. All good, princess. He husks, and for once that nickname hits me in a whole new way. I have to stop myself from gawking when he slings his leg over the horse and jumps off so casually, muscles rippling under his jeans. Wyatt ties his horse up before turning to me and leaning against one of the posts outside the guest houses, arms folded. For the first time, I notice his forearm is covered in a tattoo that looks like a mountain range. Ignoring the fuzziness in my stomach, I offer Wyatt a polite smile. Do you know where the contractors have gone? Wyatt removes his hat and wipes his sweaty forehead with the back of his hand, making his bicep flex. Oh yeah, I sent them home? My body tenses, reminding me who I'm dealing with. Of course he did. Because why would Wyatt want to make my life any easier? He made it clear yesterday that wasn't his plan. I take a few deep breaths, blowing out the last as calmly as possible, wondering why the universe wants me to deal with this man. I'm already a patient person, so what is he here to teach me? Why? I question. Wyatt shrugs, but something dances behind his dark eyes. There was a fence down and we needed to move some cattle. I didn't want them getting in the way. Okay, well, I really would have appreciated it if you'd consulted me first. You could have rung. Hate to break it to you, Princess. Wyatt pushes off the post and stalks closer. But calling you up for a nice chat was the last thing on my mind when I had cattle roaming the roads. One corner of his mouth hooks up, daring me to engage. I suck my teeth, then take a step forward, removing the distance between us. I just know that he thinks I don't belong here. Look, I get that, but this is my ranch now, and I need you to run things by me first. I need this place sold, so one don't want anything getting behind schedule. Okay, now I cross my arms and Wyatt throws me a sneer. Sorry, boss, he pushes through gritted teeth, then holds his hands up. God forbid you don't get your money on time. Must be so hard sitting on your arse all day wondering when those thousands are gonna drop.